Thank you for being here. So to start out, if you could just tell us a little bit about your artistic background and yourself.
I really became an artist in many ways, I suppose, because of my kind of grappling with the coexistence of human suffering and the amount of beauty that I see in the world. And so the making of art is a way for me to process those conflicts. I'm currently a teacher of art as well at Concordia University, Texas.
And could you introduce the body of work that you have in the show today?
Yeah, so the paintings behind me here are representative about over a decade, I would say about 15 years of being with people that are near the end of their life or on some sort of life support apparatus. I've lost many family members and friends over those years, and that's what kind of spurred it on. So, a grandfather was on oxygen up in the Midwest. We went to go visit him like in the last week of his life. We didn't know it was the last week. It was a few days before he passed. I was just do some watercolors of him in person. It resonated with others. It resonated with me because I felt like I was providing some sense of dignity to him at the end of his life. But I just was in contact with others that were going through similar experiences with relatives, and then my own brother and uncle and cousins and a best friend and a couple other best friends. So many people over the course of a decade or so. And it just kind of became what I did.
You touched on this idea of sort of giving dignity to people in this position. That's something that, as we've been talking with students about these works, we've been talking a lot about how you can sort of give this very human perspective on people in this position. And I was wondering what you think about what it gives to the people that you're drawing.
There is a notion of questioning of how to articulate this problem, this existence of human suffering, or articulate how we feel we want to like solve it, or what's the solution. And I mean, I don't think it's philosophical. I don't think it's theological. I think it's primarily pastoral. And what I mean by that is really about just being present with people in their grieving, in their mourning, in their uncertainty, in the situations that are tragic. And so the paintings are again, that invitation to be present with ourselves as a viewer, and hopefully that empowers people to be more present with those around them when these kind of situations arise.
You also just mentioned uncertainty, and in the Exploring Uncertainty exhibition, how in your words do you feel like your work engages with that theme?
I feel like the work confronts the amount of absolute certainty that we all sort of surround ourselves with, or kind of try to feel comfortable in. And the paintings are meant to kind of dislodge that a bit, because I mean, I feel certain that I'm not going to be hit by a car when I walk out of this building. Just kind of certainty that we take for granted about things.
In regards to your larger body of work, thematically, process-wise, how do you feel like this series fits into that body of work?
Well, early on, I mean, just when I began to make art, watercolor was kind of my first love. It was kind of the way, and I suppose it might be that way for many people. You know, like drawing is kind of the entry into art making, and so it feels kind of like a homecoming in that sense that I went back to watercolor, because I hadn't really done watercolor since I was quite young. So I think that striving to investigate these themes for me that were really felt powerful from being at a young age, being in a hospital myself, connecting that with the way in which I made the work using the watercolor, just felt right, you know. And then moving into the bigger ones with the acrylic and oil was kind of a way to bring the technical kind of narrative, the technical narrative you could call it, the material narrative of what I can do now as an adult artist, and kind of recalibrate how what I make connects with my initial intuition to make these watercolor portraits, you know.
It's been really interesting speaking to all the artists now to see how their thought processes and artistic processes all actually really fit really well together. I'd love if you could maybe expand on how your artistic methodology sort of affects your message. I guess what is the intention behind going so ambiguous and so loose? And
If you think about, what is it, the famous photograph of was it Dorothy Lang did the beginning of photojournalism during the Dust Bowl, and not even getting the name of the peasant mother that she takes a picture of and becomes famous for. You ride the line of like exploitation, I suppose, of people suffering, and so making a certain kind of like a documentational image that's very strict and very I wouldn't say photographic because it's not the photo in and of itself that would be that, but just something that is devoid of any kind of transcendent qualities. So if I just went so tight and it was just exactly what I see and that's it, I don't think the work would invite the kind of space for really exploring a sense of hope, a sense of beauty, a sense that there's something more here than just visually what's happening. I'm trying to make something that's epic, you know, trying to make something that's transcendent in kind of that old world style.